what's everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by Dark Fusion Systems, the best in your custom computing needs, whether it's gaming, creative, music, drawing cats. I don't know what it is, but Dark Fusion Systems has the computer for you. You get $100 off your entire bill. Use code CPPOD at checkout at darkfusionsystems.com. Mention it in the checkout area or anytime during your build. You get that $100 off, and thank you, Dark Fusion Systems. Now let's go down to Australia for our feature presentation with Saint Sinner. This one goes crazy because we talk about how different the Australian scene is compared to the US scene right now. Why bands want to come over to the from the Australian scene over to the US. Some of the crazy stories these guys got, and why their music has an identity crisis. Ooh, yeah. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, you know when it comes to anything rock or metal related, if it's coming from Australia, it's bound to be damn good. And right away, we're bringing you another great one right here. Band formed in 2020, they're part of Emo Never Sleeps in Melbourne and AM/PM Family in Sydney, playing shows all along the east coast of Australia. They played with bands like Hand Like Houses, Banks Arcade, and Ocean Sleeper. Their brand new song Dysphoria is out now, and if you like an emo metalcore mix, oh my god, do we have the band for you. And also, look at them. They're fighting already on the camera, just going after it. They're like Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So you know this is going to be fun as shit, and you're going to be into it. So please welcome Rory and Sam from the band Saint Sinner, the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Hello, how are you?
Thanks for having us.
It is great to have you on. And like I said, you know, every time I hear a band coming from Australia, it's like, you know, already embedded, there's going to be a great sound that's behind it. We've seen it with a lot of bands coming out of the country right now. They're getting very popular in the US. Polaris, Alpha Wolf, Make Them Suffer. One's very popular here like Amity Affliction, Northland, Parkway Drive. And you guys are just already like, you know, in a different way with a different sound, a little bit of a different mixture, already coming up and really bringing that to the forefront. So holy shit, this sound is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There's something in the water here. And I think people are like, it's the VB, but that's fucking disgusting. It's not. We just, I think Australia's been like stuck in the quagmire of, they're just like an island and no one talks to them because they're all strange and they stole bread like a millennia ago. And now it's like, actually, no, we make music that is fucking heavy as shit and, you know, in a lot of ways overlooked. So it's good that we're getting some fucking ka-chow. Look at Australia, they're doing so good.
And not even just getting that look at ka-chow, Australia's doing so good. It's more of a holy shit. There's everything's going on in America. There's everything going on in Europe. And then Australia, it's just like every time you look at it, it's like, yep, there's a band that's coming out of there. Yep, this is going to be good. Like it's already like assumed that this is going to be something that you want to check out. Anytime I see a band, it's like, yep, they're from Australia. I'm like, I'm already into this shit.
Yeah.
Don't even need to listen to it then. I'm already in.
That's cool. That's sick. And like a double-edged sword though, because like imagine if a band came out of Australia and you're like, oh, I'm invested. They're from Australia, and it's just terrible. And you're like, I maybe shouldn't have said I was into this. But no, thank you. That's sick. That's sick. I'm glad that you like the sound. I'm glad. That's awesome.
Well, so far I haven't found one that I've been like, oh dear God, I fully messed up on this. Like, no, I'm not at that point. I don't think really anyone's been at that point. Haven't found one yet. I mean,
have I got the band for you?
Oh dear God. I mean, we're gonna have like a game show type thing where it's like, and the band behind curtain number 2, is the one you didn't want. I'm sorry, you lose.
Shit. The only Australian band that doesn't pop off.
Oh, that'd be terrible. Don't even say that. That's scary.
Blasphemous. An Australian band that isn't good, huh? It's almost like it's never happened. It has happened. There's lots of them.
But it happens anywhere you go. That happens, you know, in Europe. That happens over in the UK. That happens over here in America as well. Happens in good old Canada. Happens in Japan. It's just like when it comes to just like the regions of the world in certain countries, certain scenes, there's always going to be somewhere. There's always times where they pop off. Always times where there's something that's embedded in there. But one thing I've noticed with the Australian scene, it kind of goes along with what I'm seeing right now with Japanese metalcore and Japanese metal kind of really taking off. And kind of coming to the forefront when we think about Germany and all the metal they put out. What's going on in Russia whenever you think of Slaughter to Prevail with Russian deathcore. Go to the UK, what bands like Architects and Asking Alexandria have done. What Bring Me the Horizon's doing. What Sleep Token's doing. Come over to the US, you got bands like Ice Nine Kills, Motionless in White, Bad Omens absolutely popping off, Falling in Reverse. There's so much there, but it's like, there's always going to be somewhere it's like there's something serious about these specific scenes that there's always going to be embedded in there. But lately, especially in the 2010s and now the 2020s, it seems like Australia and Japan are the ones where new ones where this is a huge pocket of great music. Of course, you're going to have your stinkers in there, but the great bands that are coming out are so damn good.
Can we use that? You've got your stinkers.
You can fucking use that shit.
I'm gonna next time that I see a band, because I wouldn't even say that, this is probably the first or maybe second time that anybody who has not sort of been directly involved with our band has been like, your band is not a stinker. So this is really nice to hear that we are no longer a stinker. But yeah, Japan is fucking crazy. Bro, Japan is I don't even know. I don't know what they put in the water there. Motherfuckers be the heavy as shit.
There's some crazy shit coming out of there recently.
Also, Thailand too. Have you heard of a band called Anna Lin?
No.
You should listen to Anna Lin, all one word, ANNALYNN, I think. Fuck me. Just really good. I guess it's metalcore, new metalcore. Really good shit. So Thailand's on the map too, apparently. All this competition. What are we gonna do? Fuck me, man. I don't want to compete with all those countries again.
Well, I mean, you guys got something in the water over there in Australia. Just keep drinking more of it and just consume as much as possible. Because the next thing you know, whatever the next release you're going to put out there, it's going to be that thing where it's just everyone's looking at it thinking, holy shit, Australia just went to a whole different level. How is that even possible?
Yeah. That's the goal.
So. I mean, there's some, so many good bands here at the moment. I think you mentioned Alpha Wolf, who are just killing it. They're literally slaying America right now. And I was watching I think it's either an early other podcast that they were on or something. And it was most of our streams are in America. And this was before they got massive, before they did who are they touring with at the moment? Or they just finished touring with?
They just finished. They just finished Motionless and White, Knock Loose, and After the Burial. And they opened that show. I went to it and the place was jam packed for the opener because it was Alpha Wolf. And the crowd did not let up. My God, we hurt people. That's what we said. We hurt people.
It's what you want, right? That's what you want. And that's kind of sick that culture there's all these different bands from different countries and stuff, but I'm getting a feeling that the culture is starting to really expand too. We're getting all of these new kids that get into this sort of music because it is a lot more accessible now, which is sick. That's really, really sick. Fuck, we just did a show and there was a bunch of people there because our sound has changed to this sort of semi recently. And there was a bunch of people there who knew our old shit and I don't think were prepared for new shit. And they were like, what the fuck? Who said this was okay? Why is there a bearded man throwing people around in this room? What's happening? So I love that the culture is translating across the intervening oceans and shit. It's cool. It's really sick.
It really is. And the fact that you guys are seeing that at shows now where it's, you guys are playing shows and bearded men are starting to throw people around for fun and your music is creating that. It just adds to the repertoire for you. And for your older fans too, it might be something different, but you want a band that you like to expand their horizons. You want them to try new things to see if something works or if something doesn't. Think about Bad Omens. Their first two albums, of course, you could see a little bit more of a transition what they're going to do with Death of Peace of Mind from their second album. But I mean, that second album still had The Throne on it, which was heavy as all hell. They still had that heaviness to them. But then when Death of Peace of Mind came out, even for myself, I thought, this is not the Bad Omens I thought. Stylistically, it sounds fantastic. It's sonically brilliant. But I'm not sure if this is for me.
Are just fucked. Whatever Sumerian Records put in their recording studio, it's I don't fucking know. It sounds incredible. I think Bring Me Juice was stuff with them too, or maybe they do it all in-house. I don't know, but they're another one that does that shit. They just do new stuff all the time. If you tell anybody over the age of 20 now, or maybe not 20. If you tell anyone over the age of like 17 now that Bring Me used to be like a deathcore band, they're just like, oh. But yeah, you got to change your sound up. You got to do that. If you don't, then you end up sounding like, I mean, how do you feel about like Metallica? Everyone loves Metallica, right? Everyone loves Metallica.
I've actually never been that much into Metallica. When I was growing,
they've been doing the same thing for like ever, and like they haven't changed their sound up, but they can't keep getting away with it. But they like we've had to change our sound because like this is where the scene is moving into. Like the metal scene is just exploding at the moment, and capitalizing on that just seems like and the music is cool, like capitalizing on it, but also the music is fucking sick. Like,
see, I understand both those aspects where you want to capitalize on it, but if you want to capitalize on it, especially from an artistic standpoint, it has to be something that you really want to jump into with your whole heart. Mm-hmm. When I've seen bands jump into certain ideas and certain projects because they want to capitalize on a trend, it's those songs end up, or those albums or songs, whatever it is, they end up doing really poorly, not only with the audience that they're trying to attract, but with the audience they already have, because you can tell that this was something that was done on more of a business aspect side than from a creative aspect. But the fact that, you're falling in love with what the metal scene is doing right now, with where it's going, you want to add more of this in your music. You want to try this out. You're inspired by this, and you're not trying to hop on a trend. It's from what you're feeling, from what you're getting connected to, and from, what is currently influencing your mind in terms of the bands you're listening to, in terms of the sound you're connecting with, and where you want to go with it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because and Sam will attest to this. So we've been a band since 2020.
Yeah.
Fuck. So like at that point in 2020, we had like really bad bushfires here, like real bad. And it was pretty fucked up. And so like we started making music. We're originally a 5-piece. We started making music, and it was like, it's interesting that you say that people that jump on a bandwagon, like you can tell kind of like it's not super authentic. I feel like when we started, some of those songs that we were writing and that I was writing lyrically or whatever were in that vein. Like they just felt a bit like, like not necessarily completely inauthentic, but they felt like this is the sort of music that I feel like I should be making. Whereas, and Sam, who you started in 2021, I think.
Like joined a bit later.
Sam and Caleb, who's still the drummer, they both listened to, like they introduced me to bands like Alpha Wolf and Void of Vision and the Knock Loose as well. And it was like going from a place where I was writing music that I felt like I should be writing, but maybe wasn't connecting to now writing music that's like this, falling back in love with the genre and writing music that's like, this feels much more genuine, even though like the whole vibe of these latest releases is like, I don't fucking know who I am anymore. What the fuck? But I feel more connected to that like crisis of identity than I did to the songs that we were writing sort of before Headcase. So, like you can tell when bands are jumping on a bandwagon, and I'm glad that it doesn't seem like that to you, because fuck me, if it did, I'd be like, well, I'm quitting tomorrow.
No, we don't need you to quit tomorrow, man. We don't need any of that, Rory, because I understand where you're coming from too. When you started out with this, you were writing music that you thought you should be making. And that's something that I think a lot of younger songwriters, a lot of younger bands I end up talking to, I sort of see them falling into that. Now, when it comes to younger bands, like I'm talking, like you're just starting out and you're just starting to get some traction, you feel like you have to do some of this stuff because you have certain goals you want to hit. You want to be a certain place at a certain age. You want to sell this, certain amount of records. You want to get a certain number of monthly streams on Spotify. You want to see those numbers because, that's what people are looking at. That's what labels are looking at that potentially want to sign you. That's what tours are looking at and concert pros are looking at to see what tour packs you get on and what your show size is going to be. Yeah. So, you're going to potentially end up playing to that. But that's something that, a lot of people tend to potentially fall into. It happens. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is, like from what you guys did, you recognized it and you thought, you know what? I'm not necessarily as into this as much as I could be because I feel like I'm making the music I think I should be instead of the music that is actually in me.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it is, mainly thanks to Sam and Caleb that we are now making that music, and hence being the only 2 remaining members in the band. But like making that music now. And the funny thing is, we're only seeing like traction now. Like after that, it's an interesting thing because we're only seeing like, yeah, obviously we've put a little bit more money into it, but I think because it has felt more exciting and more genuine, we've started to see more traction. So don't like the young band mentality of like, oh my God, we're going to get so many streams on Spotify and I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to fucking have like self-confidence based on my music career. Gone. That's gone. That doesn't exist now, but we like the music that we're making, so it's good.
So trust me, in the current economic state with interest rates, I don't think anyone's thinking, oh, we're going to buy a house with this. Exactly. Not yet anyway.
I might make a down payment on some cheese, but like, we'll see.
I mean, it's got to be some good cheese if you're making a down payment on it. It's like, you know what? I found this nice wheel, man. I smelt it. Mate, it just was so good.
Have supermarkets in the US been fucking like gouging prices like they have here? Have you heard of that? Yeah, bro. It's fucked. Like, I'm not kidding. So $10 Australian's probably like, what, that'd be like $4 or $5 US, something like that at the moment.
You know what? Why not? Why, instead of speculating this, why don't we actually ask the internet and get a confirmation?
Yeah, how much is 10? Let's do like a bag of cheese translation.
Well, $10 for a bag of cheese.
Yeah, because it's $10 Australian for a bag of chease.
If it's $10,
it's 500 grams of cheese, and it's not even like the nice cheese. It's just like normal, tasty cheese.
Yeah, I'd say if it's for $10 for Australian, that'd be $6.70 American.
Is that a lot to pay for cheese in America?
Oh dear God, yeah, especially where I'm from. Like for me to pay for cheese, it's like if I'm getting, like a package of cheese, like, like 11 slices or something. That's like, I mean, I think it's freaking expensive, and here it's $3.
Yeah, so that'd be what, like $7 in Australia. But that's still like, it doesn't seem like much, but when you eat as much cheese as I do,
adds up.
Adds up.
Dude, you got to come to America. You got to come visit me. I'm from they call the state the Dairyland. Like, there's cheese everywhere. I mean, the American
walking around. Like, is the cheese just walking? Do you have to hunt the cheese, or is it like, is the cheese in cow form, or is there just lots of cheese factories?
There's lots of the cheese is in cow form. There's lots of cheese factories. There's lots of cheese shops here. Supermarkets have aisles dedicated to cheese here. I mean, you literally need to come and visit me so you can just be in cheese euphoria.
Oh, we need to go to the States though. Like we're sort of, the place that we're in here is like, so we're from Canberra, which is funnily enough the nation's capital, but everyone who comes to Australia is like, guess where I'm not going to play? There. In the capital, we're going to do Sydney, we're going to do Brisbane and then Sydney, and then we're going to do Melbourne, and like Canberra's between Melbourne and Sydney on our east coast. And they just skip us because
no one comes to shows.
No one comes to shows. No one turns up. Canberra's a weird little place, but for us to come to America, the scale of like how many cities you guys have and how much potential there is to tour. They're doing like, you guys have different I think they call like different markets.
Oh yeah,
based on how many cities you have. Like if you're doing like a like your East Coast market, and then there's like 3 different markets within that. There's like your AA class, and then you're like slightly smaller ones, and you have different like size tours for one coast. So like more different size tours for one coast than we do for an entire country. Like if you're touring Australia, you're either doing the capital cities or you're not doing anything at all. It's bizarre. Or they have regional tours. Like I know Amity and Alpha Wolf's about to do a regional tour.
Usually international bands won't come down and do like Albury and Coomber and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
No, anytime you see an international band or going to Australia, even when I see the tour posters, it's like, oh, we're going to Australia, and there's 4 days on there.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, that's all you really can hit when you're over here.
Even like.
I'll say for sure it's always Brisbane, Melbourne, or Sydney.
Yeah.
and then maybe one other one in there that I'm forgetting, but it's always
it might be Adelaide. It's usually Adelaide.
Yes.
It's on the other side of the country.
Yeah, they've only got one place that people go to on the other side, the whole other side.
Yeah, so there's like the east coast of Australia and just like one city that's like thousands of kilometers, miles, kilometers, whatever it is. Because I forget that you guys still do the miles thing.
Yep.
Like that weirds me out. Not like no offense to the mile to the is it the metric system? No, we use the metric to the imperial
the metric system.
We
use
this
English
post was made
system
by the imperial system lovers gang, but like we have like kilometers, and I forget that if I say to someone, you know, the Adelaide is 10, what is it? It's like 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers away from Sydney in miles. That's like, is that less? I think it's less, or it's more.
It's more.
So it's like hundreds of thousands of miles or some shit.
No,
so
you're on the opposite. It's the other way. It's a mile is longer than a kilometer.
See, I don't get it. Obviously, and I forget that people don't understand that Australia is like America, but you guys just have more stuff in the space between your cities. We have just like a rock. That's it. Just a big rock in the middle and then some cities. And I forget that it's so like sparsely populated. So yeah, if like international bands that come here, like the Bring Me Sleep Token tour, they originally had 4 dates. That's crazy to me that a band that big is only doing 4 dates in like our country. Like they did add, I think, second dates in some of the cities, but mad. But yes, after the meandering trail of that conversation, we'd love to come to the States. Like it's on the list. It's on the bucket list for sure.
I mean, I try and pitch to every band, whether you're from the Europe, from Australia, wherever I talk to, like whenever you get a chance to, because I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but come and tour in the US just because you never know what to expect. And like you said, it's a lot different to tour in the US versus Australia because you have the whole entire country, but then there's separate sections that you can like space out within there and certain regions that you can market in. You can market up in the Northeast and hit, 10, 15 different cities. And, you're barely driving, an overall round trip. You might not be driving 2,000 miles. Yes, I have to say miles from like all over the whole entire time. You might come to the Midwest where I'm at. And it's like, for me, literally before we shot this 2 days ago, I'm here in my hometown. And I got to see the From Ashes to New tour that's just wrapping up. Then the following day, I drove 90 miles south. Yep, I said miles again because I have to, because that's all I know. To Chicago to see the exact same tour. I can do it on back-to-back days because the cities are so close in proximity where, for me, I know if I see a tour coming, I know you're coming somewhere around me. It depends upon if I have to go, literally drive 5 minutes away from my house to go to the show, or I have to drive 2 hours. I don't care. I'm still gonna go because fuck it. Why not? But it's it's like that availability is something that is incredible that I want to see every band have an experience for, because you get to tap into so many different markets on one tour, whether you're hitting the whole entire nation or you're just hitting a certain pocket of it. Yeah, and like that's so alien to us. Like we would drive, like Sydney's about 2 hours from Canberra. Three hours and a bit. Yeah. We drive there to see one show. And then if we want to see that, like a show in Melbourne, it's like a 7 to 8 hour drive. No, Melbourne to Sydney's more. It's like 12 hours.
Oh, Melbourne to Sydney would be 10 hours.
Yeah, 10-hour drive just between the two big cities. And then Brisbane, we drove to Brisbane recently. Like this, holy shit.
Driving there was the worst decision we've ever made. It was 14 hours.
As a band, it was probably the worst thing we've ever done.
For one show, 14-hour drive for one show.
Fucked. Like I'll paint the scene for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Here's Canberra. Here's Canberra. Brisbane's at the top of the country, so it's in Queensland. So you got to go all the way north. We get booked on this show by AMPM, who's kind of like an emo night thing. Like I know you guys have emo night over there. Similar sort of vibes, like club nights. They get bands on. And we were like playing the Halloween show in Brisbane. Now, this is our first time going to Brisbane, and the promoter, who's lovely, his name's Tom Milgate, he was like, oh, you might have a show in Canberra the next night, you might not. And so we didn't know whether to book flights or not because it was all sort of up in the air until the end. And we ended up being like, fuck it, it'll be cheaper. It's my idea. It'll be cheaper to drive. It'll be cheaper to drive. And so we fucking got in our drummer's like Land Cruiser, which is like a people carrier SUV type thing in Canberra. And we're like, oh, how are we going to fit the gear? So we hired a fucking trailer. And like, you know, that's a pretty normal thing to do, hiring a trailer. We hired a fucking house. We hired a trailer the size of a house. Like it was like what? How big was it? It was like, I don't know. Have you seen a horse float?
Yeah.
It was like maybe double or triple the size of a horse float for one little box of gear.
Yeah.
And we were like,
just some guitar gear and merch, and
we were like, fuck, man. Yeah. We overcompensated a little bit. And so yeah, anyway, we're driving this house up to Brisbane, and we leave Canberra, you know, we got to like halfway. It's pouring with rain the whole time. Because the trailer's heavy, we're using way more diesel, fuel, or whatever we were putting in it. It took us like 2 days to get there, pouring with rain. Trailer gets wet. The merch gets wet. We get to the venue. The drummer's forgotten his stick bag with his in-ears in it. So it was just chaos. And we get there, we do the show, great, sweet, put the gear back in the trailer, and then on the way home, we got possessed by the divine urge to just do the whole drive in one go.
Yeah.
So we just drove with our sound guy, with 4 other. So it was me, Sam's girlfriend, Maya, Caleb, the drummer, and our sound tech, Jack. And we just drove 13 hours straight to get home. And like, I don't think I've like ever wanted to, we got there and I was like, why are we doing this? Like, what has happened? Which God have I pissed off for this to be my existence now? But yeah, it was pretty intense.
It's a pretty good time though.
It was a good time, but it was just like,
good show.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro. But we're pretty young. We've still got that fire. We've still got that, like, yeah, we'll drive 97 hours for a show. We haven't had that snuffed out yet. So that's why States would be good. We could avoid all 13-hour drives. And even if we did that, we could have like 6 shows within a 13-hour drive. Like, that's the dream.
Oh, easily you could have 6 shows in a 13-hour drive, because I'm even thinking about it myself. I made a 13-hour drive from where I live down to Southern Virginia in the United States for the ill-fated Blue Ridge Rock Fest 2023.
Did that happen?
Yeah. Like, if you heard any of the shit that happened there, yeah, it fucking happened.
I didn't know. Was it like Woodstock 99 type beat?
Not as like full on riot, but in terms of how bad it was put together and how shitty everything turned out, yeah. Oh yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not happening again after everything.
I didn't hear about that. I saw all the ads for it. So many huge bands.
Yeah, hectic lineup.
I think fucking wasn't Sleep Token and like headlining it this year or something like that.
They kept moving Sleep Token like up the bill because of how popular they were getting, and they put them on stage, on the main stage, right, like they were right before Motionless in White went on.
Fuck.
And it was just like, I wasn't a big Sleep Token fan beforehand. I went over because I'm like, I gotta be in the pit for Motionless in White because the stages are right next to each other. I get to see what Sleep Token's doing. I'm like, this live show is like insane. Like it's euphoric. Like, how the fuck is this happening? But then of course the next day had a little bit of rain in the morning. Oh, the festival's canceled for the day. And then we find out like a couple hours later, yep, they're canceling tomorrow too. There wasn't even rain in the freaking forecast.
Yeah. So they canned the whole thing. I thought it might have been like just like poorly organized or like
Oh well, the reason why they canned it for the second day and the third day was because, or the third day and the fourth day was because they treated the workers so damn terribly that they just went on strike and they refused to do anything. Like the stage crew refused to do anything for them.
That's
if you want to go and watch Tank the Tech's video, because Tank the Tech on YouTube, he was tour managing for Electric Callboy, and Electric Callboy played on Friday, and he runs down the whole gambit of what the shit they had to go through.
Shit. All right. Yeah, because I literally thought like I saw the lineups and then nothing else about it, and I was like, oh, maybe it was one of those like not scam festival, but maybe it was like way more hyped than it needed to be. It just wasn't very good, but. Firefest 2.
This was like Metal Firefest. I mean,
shit.
But I want not to the level of Woodstock 99. They did not get to that point.
Yeah. Well, like, because Fred Durst, like, Limp Bizkit were here doing good things. And everyone was like, oh, no. Remember the last time he came to Australia? Oh, no. Not good. Remember that time he did a festival in 99? Because the documentary just sort of had recently come out. But I think he was tame enough. We didn't go to good things this year. Couldn't afford it because it was, like, pricey and, you know.
Going up Sydney.
Just, again, driving 3 hours to go see a festival. Like, sick lineup. Like, The Plot and You are one of my favorite bands. And they were awesome, apparently. But, like, we just really couldn't justify it this year. Just couldn't justify going to see 2 Fall Out Boy songs. And then that got rained out, too. They cancelled the Sydney. Like, Fall Out Boy did 2 songs, and then they shut it down. I would have been mad. If I was, like, a massive Fall Out Boy stan, I would have been mad. I would have been pissed off.
Oh, I can understand that. But again, it kind of just speaks to the craziness that, you know, for you guys, even, you know, at your age where you're still like gung-ho, we can still go do this. I mean, even for myself, I'm like, yeah, I can go do this. I can go see a show on a Wednesday night at a city that I got to drive 2 hours to and wake up at 4:30 in the morning and go to work the next day. Fuck it. Who cares? But the problem, again, is when those drives get longer and longer and longer, and you guys have to continually experience something like that. You know, you want to drive to Sydney, that's over 3 hours for you guys. You have to get there. You want to drive to Melbourne, like you said, 7 hours. Drive to Brisbane, forget about it. I mean, you guys are going to drive a whole fucking house half a day just to get there.
And maybe that's why Australian bands, look, we've come full circle. Maybe that's why Australian bands are doing so well, is because we've all had to cut our teeth literally doing cross-country drives to do a show in a place that isn't where we live. Like, I feel like a lot of Australian bands have that drive that are just like, yeah, fuck it. You want us to drive 18 hours to do a set of 3 shows in America? Yeah, easy. Can do. Will do. Well, I'm already there. I've already booked the flight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the Australian band mentality of very gung-ho. Although the Brisbane one did take years off my life. Like, I think I probably lost a couple of years on the way back, especially because have you ever heard of the expression, you've been hit with the silly stick?
No.
Okay.
But it sounds like a great expression.
You know, when you're at like a sleepover with your friends and it's like time to go to bed, everyone, and someone says something and everyone starts laughing in the dark and giggling. And it was like that, but in a moving vehicle. Everyone got hit with the silly stick
with a 1-ton fucking house on the back of the
car. It was unhinged. The drive back was unhinged, and I think that took a few years off my life expectancy. But it was a good time. I'd do it again.
Definitely was money saving, but the biggest tax was
mental.
Yeah.
Money saving, but not brain saving.
So you got to weigh those costs. But one thing that just kind of popped in my mind, because I've had conversations with other Australian bands in the past, and this kind of makes me think about this when it comes to why the Australian bands that are, once they get that any kind of traction, they start getting more international attention, why are they just so damn good? And I think it's because you're talking about just the drive that you guys have to do just to get to some of these shows, but just the smaller amount of markets that you can hit, you know, Brisbane, Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne, because those are usually like the 4 that you guys are going to that have a lot of people there that you have to hit on. So if you only have 4 places you can go to, every band has to go to those 4 places. So you have to be doing something to stand out musically above there, but you also have to drive to get out there and continue to do it, because it's not going to be easy to get from one city to the next when you got to drive, you know, over half a day's worth just to get somewhere and haul all your shit. Like that ain't easy. You have to have a certain sound and have to have a certain drive to be able to hit people in order to stand out. Like, and that's why the bands that are coming out are so damn good, because, you know, compared to the US, they might have had a chance in the US, like to start out, but they may have never gotten as good as they did, because then all the convenience of, okay, I can go to New York and then all of a sudden I can drive an hour and go to Boston. Now I have to drive back to Philadelphia. You're all within the same area. It's not that long. It doesn't take, and there's a lot more venues, a lot of new markets that you can still go to and still travel and hit from time to time. But in Australia, you got like 4. And you got to make sure you hit those 4. And that's it, because every band is competing for 4 markets all at the same time.
All the time. And it's not like it's just like, there's a few metal bands now. Like the genre is so busy Like it's a very busy genre. Like I even know how many, I don't know. There's probably coming out of Sydney at the moment. There's at least 6 in the past month that have started to get like big traction, and their numbers are growing, and they're starting to get out there a bit. And that's just last month. Like the export rate is insane. It's crazy. So we kind of have to not work harder, because there's obviously going to be different problems presented to different bands in different countries and stuff. Like, but we just have to work a little bit harder on being different, getting our name out there, and showing up to different things, so that we can sort of do this and make it out, as it were. Because like we that's the goal, right? Like we want to get out, we want to get into the world, we want to show everybody that the Australian work ethic or something. I don't know. I just want to do shows out of the country so that I can be like, look, it's Tokyo. You know what I mean? Like, those posts you see where it's like Tokyo or like the city name. You guys were great. And then there's like 8 of them in the Instagram feed. I just think that's such a sick thing. Like traveling like that. That's the goal.
All right. Well, if that's the goal, then let me ask you this, because, of course, we're right about to head into 2024. Brand new year for Saint Sinner. So what are you guys going to do specifically to put yourself in that position, both musically from what you're creating, but also from what you're going to be doing out there, that people can come check you out, listen to you, see you play live, but also get to know you potentially a lot more via their freaking phones on social media?
Well, like, so the base of all of the things is the music, right? So we just did Dysphoria, and there's more. There's so fucking, hang on, hold that thought. There is, like, I'm not going to show you, but we have prepared, not for this podcast, a whole board of things. That's next year, everybody.
That's a lot of things.
Everyone, that's next year. Look at next year. Goodbye. No more next year for you.
All I saw in there that I recognized was new shit, NU shit. So it's like, okay,
yeah,
there's some new shit going on.
Yeah, so we've got music, a whole new catalog of music, so much stuff that we're sort of sitting on. The era that we're currently in, the Identity Crisis era, is song 2 of 7. So we have a few more singles next year, and then a record, hopefully. We've booked a tour, an Australian regional tour, but it's basically just, like you said, those 4 markets, all 4 of them. That's the start of next year. So early next year, we're doing a little bit of our own little tour, which will be fun because we haven't done that before. So this will be the first sort of, I guess, I'm not going to call it a headliner because it is going to be tiny rooms. But yeah, so we're going to do our first leg of that. Oh, what else? We got music videos. We've got, I see you say this, you're like, what are you doing next year? And my brain goes into, I've got to make so much press. Holy fuck. Because, bro. But yeah, a few more records, music videos, that sort of stuff. The tour will help. I'm starting as of right now, a petition. We want to go to Japan. Send us to Japan. If you don't send us to Japan, Sam will be very unhappy.
Sam will be very unhappy and possess your camera like that.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
We want to, the goal is to either go, I want to go more interstate next year, and just sort of as many shows as we can do, just reach as many people as possible, and get on that grind, baby, on that East Coast Australian grind. I don't know why, but in my head, the intrusive thoughts were like, let's call it the Steve Irwin grind. But that is not, if you don't know who Steve Irwin is, that makes no sense.
I'll say that's something for me, just didn't really hit it right away when you said it.
I was thinking, like, why did you make that joke? You should make a joke that, like, makes sense. So now I'm trying to think of, like, an Australian icon that we could name the tour after that everybody knows. When you think of Australia, who do you think of? Who is your first thought?
Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter.
Oh, so you do know who that is. So it does make sense. Okay,
I think
good.
you said Steve-O. So at first I was like,
oh no, the Steve Irwin grind. We're calling it the Steve Irwin grind. Just wrestling Crocs in every city.
Gator Fest, baby.
Gator Fest. It's actually kind of metal as fuck. That's actually that'd be a pretty sick festival name.
It could. Yeah, I mean, if it happened here in the US, it'd have to happen in Florida. You have to go to the weird wackiness of Florida with all the, have it in the middle of Everglades. We're gonna be having metal, mosh pits, and gators.
And fucking alligators and shit.
Just
and then
don't get eaten.
The news headlines will be like, Florida man rides 2 alligators into battle or some shit. Because, like, I don't know what it is about Florida men. God damn. He's on the news a lot, this one dude.
Florida man wrestles alligator in Slaughter to Prevail pit, wins.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually happened, to be honest. Like,
one thing you can do, it's always a fun little thing before I go into my next point is search up, go to Google, search up Florida man, and then type in your birthday and just see what headline pops up. I think mine was like Florida man arrested for mowing lawn while naked.
I think mine was Florida man kills housemate with poison burrito or something like that. Some weird shit.
Right as you said that, Sam just kind of looked over like, please don't do that. That'd be bad.
Yeah, Sam's like, I'm never taking food from you again. Yeah, but no, bunch more content next year. That's our plan. Just pumping out the shows, pumping out content, just expanding, which will be fun. Lots of work. It's fun and it's worth it. It's what we want. It's the only thing that we do.
I'll say it's work, but it's worth it. It's fun because it's something that you're doing for yourselves, for what you want to do. And one thing I was going to say too is I know you're in you said song 2 of 7 of the identity crisis era. Fully lean into that because listening to Dysphoria, I kind of felt a little bit of that where it's the sound is starting to get fleshed out to figure out where it is. But there is this feeling of I'm not necessarily sure where this is going to go. So it's intriguing to wonder where you guys are going next as you continue to find your identity as a band, as you continue to find your identity with your sound going forward, what that core sound is going to be, where you can become a band like Bring Me the Horizon, where we listen to a song by Bring Me the Horizon, we're like, oh yeah, let's Bring Me the Horizon. But it could be something super duper poppy or super duper more electronically produced off of Amo. And then we listen to something like Diamonds Aren't Forever, oh yeah, that's the same band.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's actually hit the nail on the head. We just want to keep it fresh and do our own thing and sort of start a sound, I guess, or have our own sound that's individual, but while still because you can do that and go down the wrong way about it and end up just making brown noise sounds for 2 hours and be it's just the vibe. But we want to do it in a streamlined and cool way. But we got lore. We got some lore. Yeah, I don't know if you picked up in the video. I'm glad that you liked it. That's sick. The guy that animated it's from Ireland and he's fucking awesome. Or England or something. He's awesome. He's really, really sick. But you got to do your own thing,
Yeah, if you're not doing your own thing, then, kind of what are you doing? Especially when it comes to music, it's art, it's expressive. It's what you guys are doing. You're expressing whatever thought, emotion you're having at this point in a song format. If you're just not doing it the way you want to do it, if you're doing it the way that you think other people want you to do it, or a way that you think is going to be popular, again, it's just going to come off as messy, inauthentic, disingenuous.
And we are very much leaning into the identity crisis thing. It's such a weird, coming from the music we were doing to sort of what we're doing now was all inspired by I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on in ye olde brain, but that translates into a way where I can come to terms with who I am and what our sound is as a band. It works on a lore level, it works on a personal level, and hopefully it works on a marketing level too, because sell your brain to the internet. Just do it. I'll do it. I'm selling my brain to the internet.
Hey, Bo Burnham did it, especially in 2020, and see how that all happened. Welcome to the internet. Have a look around.
Bo Burnham, I think, I haven't seen him since. I think he actually lobotomized himself and sold his brain to someone.
He sold his brain to be featured on a white woman's Instagram. I know.
there's a price, and that's not the price, you know. That's
exactly. You don't want to be next to pictures of pumpkin spice lattes and tiny little, dogs, and a picture of your mother from 10 years ago, and saying, "I miss you, baby." And look, flowers.
And some flowers, maybe. Well, it's funny though, because like now those, and there's nothing against those people. I love everybody, but those people are like your bad omens and your bad omens girlies now, if that makes sense. Like, I think that's sick. Like reaching a whole new market. Like it's now kind of the girly pop thing to do to like Slipknot.
Hey, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. We get more people into rock and metal. We get more people interested in it. The more people that get interested in it, the more the genre grows. I think I can't remember who it was. It said someone was like, teenage girls are the ones that run the music world because they are the ones that just get so heavily into it where they're going to put their whole entire being behind it. And we're seeing that with bands, specifically Bad Omens right now.
Yeah. Like, it's weird, the trickle down effect. Like even we sometimes get it. Like I got a message the other day that was like, "Come to Turkey," and I was like, "What?" And 2 days later, another message, "Come to Turkey," and they're like, I guess teenagers being like, "We fucking love your music and we have access to it now because the internet and whatever, and it's becoming popular in this sort of more mainstream to like rock and metal." And apparently Turkey just pops the fuck off. Like Turkey, I don't know. I'll go to Turkey.
Yeah. Why not? Just go check it out, see what happens. Just play a show in Istanbul, have a good time. But I think another thing with the identity crisis idea, what really can make it is like, especially what you said from a more, commercially successful or marketable piece, is think about the fact that, like we just talked about, you had like teenage girls saying, "Come to Turkey to play a show," because they're connecting with your music. A lot of people might be feeling very similarly with their lives at this point where they're struggling to figure out who they are, so you figure out what they want to do. And if you're going to be portraying that through your songs as you authentically are trying to figure out where you want to go with your music and figure out what your old brain is actually thinking, it's something that allows so many people to get behind not only the lore of the band, but also follow along with it and really be a part of it step by step due to the fact that they're feeling the exact same way. There's this absolute emotional connection piece on there, and especially from a younger fan's perspective, because I can't remember who else said it, but it was someone out there that said, usually, or maybe it was a fucking study, I don't even remember, but it was like we end up typically having our most musical influence time and picking our favorite bands around the age of 14. And when I read that, I'm like, oh yeah, let me think about what band did I fall in love with when I was 14. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, and they're still my favorite band to this day. Makes total sense. But it's because it's such a formative piece. And if people are going to get into that, even people that are beyond that time frame, but are going to be able to get into it because they're still feeling that way, especially in a world today where, we're freaking out over the fact that you never know what war is going to be starting. Inflation's going crazy. It's $10 Australian to buy a bag of fucking cheese. Yeah, you're going to be struggling to figure out what you want to do, who you are. And because your art's going to be able to connect with people on that, people are going to be able to follow along with it so much better because they're going through it at the exact same time and emotionally connect with you and want to go and see you play live, want to listen to your music because it's going to make them feel better and further go along in their journey of figuring out themselves.
And that's what it's about. That was the best way anyone's ever put that. I love that you're recording this because I'm going to use that clip and I'm just going to give that to people and be like, this is why you should listen to our shit because of this right here. But yeah, no, that's what music's about there, right? Like that's what it's all about, is that connection, and the identity crisis thing about that was feeling like a lack of connection. So to be able to make that from something that was initially so negative is pretty crazy, and it's cool. It's a cool thing to do. So we're very, very stoked that people like the songs. And we're so far, at least. Hey, look, don't hold out hope. We've done 2. Don't buy Stonks in Saint Sinner just yet. Wait till we've done 3, and then if you like the 3rd one, then buy some Stonks in Saint Sinner. But yeah.
Already invested in stonks. God damn it. You're telling me not to now? What the hell, man?
Well, with us, you never know what you're going to get. So we've done a couple of sort of heavy-ish, not really heavy, but heavier than we used to songs. And then you never know. The next one might just be fucking deathcore. It might be a rap song. You don't know.
Might be a pop track.
Might be a pop track. You don't know. You know, we got so much shit.
Or it might be something super soft. It could become the next Just Pretend.
Well, I hope so.
And then stonks go up.
And then people buy stonks. Then stonks go up.
Stonks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Saint Sinner songs going up.
All right, guys. The little, like the meme of the guy's face with the like little arrow. Just like, stonks.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. I got one more question for you before we wrap this up. It's a question I love to ask everybody since I started doing this a couple months ago. It's brought me so many great bands, brought me to know so many great bands, brought so many other people to know so many great bands. So I'm going to ask you the same thing. Can you guys give me 3 bands? I'm asking for 3 bands from the Australian scene right now that you are absolutely loving and you want to get people like to listen to, get more behind them. I'm looking for 3. Let's hear what you got.
Bands that people might not necessarily know.
Like bands that haven't like, that are on the way up.
Yeah, because like everyone's gonna already know Polaris and Alpha Wolf and Parkway Drive. Like I'm looking for some like newer stuff for people to really jump into.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking Ocean, maybe.
Yeah.
Ocean Sleeper.
Go plug Ocean Sleeper.
Ocean Sleeper. Have you heard of that band before? Ocean Sleeper?
I have, but I know not a lot of people have, so that's a great one.
Okay, all right. Fucking, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Ocean Sleeper are fucking awesome. Fucking such a sick band. Like, they just did good things, actually. So they were on the way up, but let's plug their American market. Let's get the Ocean Sleeper boys playing fucking Madison Square Garden tomorrow. What's another one? Void of Vision. I don't know if you've heard of Void of Vision.
They're pretty
big.
They're pretty huge already, I think.
I've seen them tour in the U.S. twice so far, I think, but it's something where they still need to get a lot more for their sound. So I'm happy with the Void of Vision pick.
Yeah, Ocean Sleeper, Void of Vision. What do you reckon? You do the third one. I don't know any bands.
Fuck.
I've never listened to music before. All of a sudden, like you asked me this, I'm like, "What's a band?" I don't.
That kind of happens.
Yeah, I mean, I might even say like fucking like Gravemind. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
Are they Aussie?
I'm pretty sure they are. No, they're not. I think I'm just stupid. Is Gravemind? Hold on.
Hang on. We have a band that we might think is Australian, but we don't know.
Either them or Inertia.
Oh yeah, Nersh. The Nersh.
The big Nersh.
Big
Nersh.
Sydney Nersh. Big Sydney Nersh. So Inertia, like when you fucking falling out of a plane and your stomach goes ooh. Yeah, they're sick. They're sick. Metalcore band from Sydney. Really, really like amazing vocalists. Some pretty fucking heavy hitter riffage. Yeah, Inertia. They're sick.
Inertia, Ocean Sleeper. Who else did we say?
Void of Vision. Yeah. Plug the boys.
3 heavy bands.
So I've got 2 that I've heard, 1 that I haven't, and I'm excited to check out 1 more. And for everyone else, check out all of them and check out Saint Sinner too, because that's kind of the point of this podcast. So go listen to them. Yeah.
Please.
Please. Well, now we're going to do this. As we bring this podcast to conclusion, I always love to give my guests, which is both of you right now, a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of the episode. So, my friends, the floor is yours.
We just dropped a single, so Dysphoria, please go stream that, run it up on Spotify, so that we can be paid 0.0003 of a cent every time that you do. Whoop, love Spotify.
We've got some merchandise.
Yeah. We got merchandise. Merch stores going up in the next week, so there'll be a link in the bio of our Instagram to buy some fucking merch. What else? Just, stream the song, buy some merch. It'll ship internationally. Watch the music video. That helps. YouTube helps. And yeah, honestly, listen to this podcast. Keep supporting the homies that are out here supporting fucking international music. Do that shit.
Yeah. Just 2 thumbs up. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Now let's start this podcast with 3 very specific things. So first things first, when it comes to Saint Sinner, when it comes to Dysphoria, when it comes to getting behind the whole entire lore of their identity crisis and following along with the band and loving them, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Saint Sinner online. There's going to be links and labels for everything. Social media. You're going to see YouTube. You're going to see where you can stream their music, where you can buy their music, where you can download their music, and when their merch store is up, where you can go and get that merch. It's going to be in the links for the description of the podcast. I'm doing all the hard work for you. I'm like Google here.
You are Google.
God bless.
You are Google. God bless Google.
Yeah.
God bless.
Thank you so much for having us, though, as well. Like, thank you so much for having us on and having a chat about cheese.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know you're going to like where this next part is going. So number 2, whenever I've guested the podcast and I absolutely enjoy having on, I tend to make a certain promise as a way to say thank you, and I wish to continue to support the band in the future. You guys, I knew before I even hit recording on this podcast, like this was going to be a thing. I already knew it. So my promise to you is this. It is a when, not if. When implies we're doing this, just day or time yet to be determined. When I get to you guys perform live for the first time, I have to edit my normal promise for this, but I will look for you. I will find you. I will come and say hi to you. And instead of first rounds on me, I'm bringing you cheese.
Yes! First bag of cheese is on you.
I like that.
We'll have to save up between now and then to buy the second bag of cheese, though. Because it is really expensive.
If you ever come down to Australia, you will...
We'll put a deposit on some cheese for you. But... Thank you. I'm fucking so keen. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to go to a cheese store just down the street from my house. I'm going to get like a couple of bricks of cheese and be like, so here's like a sampler platter. What do you guys want?
Yeah, let's just eat some cheese backstage of fucking Saint Sinner American Time Cheese Tour.
That'd be one hell of a name for a tour.
I'm actually kind of like, I don't hate that. Just like, thanks for the cheese tour.
Thanks for the cheese tour. Then you would have to come through and play where I'm from because, again, we are known for the fact that there's a lot of cheese here. So there are people that when they see our American football team play, they wear foam cheese on their heads. They're not my team, but
that's where that's from.
Yep, I am from the state that is from, even though I am wearing a hat of a completely different football team right now.
I've seen that. I know what that is. That's a reference that I understand. Very good.
Yep, so we'll bring you the cheese. Fuck, I'll even get you a cheese head.
Let's go. Bring me a cheese hat. Bring me a cheese hat. That's the promise.
Bring a cheese hat and cheese, like actual cheese. I'm not gonna short you on actual cheese. $10 a bag for cheese? No. We're going cheaper than that for even better quality, baby. Oh,
Let's go.
So now it's time for number 3. As we bring this to its conclusion, I cannot end this by saying goodbye because this was so much damn fun. I want to have you guys back on the podcast. I got to make good on the cheese promise. So this is not goodbye, my friends. Hell no. This is. I'll see you later.
We'll see you later. You certainly will. Thank you.
Well, folks, that's my interview with Rory and Sam for the band Saint Sinner out of Australia. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. Identity crisis. I love the fact that this band has identity crisis with their music right now, and they're fully leaning into it. And I want to see them lean into it so much more in 2024. And here is the reason why. Wow, I sound really weird by saying that, but here is the reason why. Like I said during the episode, when it comes to people that are getting into the band, they're seeing a lot more younger fans get into them. And when we're younger, hell, even when we're around today, we might have trouble feeling out like who we are, what we are as people, what do we want, especially younger age. I mean, you're still trying to figure out who you are. With the fact that Saint Sinner is having this identity crisis with their music and they're going to go fully into it and really express that on their next releases like they did with Dysphoria, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of connecting pieces in there when it comes to people that are struggling with their own identity right now, trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do in life. And for those of us that are already doing stuff like this, but wonder if what we are doing is really the thing we want to end up doing, if we're doing the right thing, if we are happy. There's so much more to go on here, but the fact that we can follow along in that journey with a band like Saint Sinner who's actively in it right now, that's something you don't want to miss out on because you can connect with that and find a new favorite band all over again. So go screen for the podcast where it says Find Saint Sinner online, links and labels for literally everything. Go check them out, follow along with them. I'm your own personal Google, baby. I got you covered. So go and give Saint Sinner some support. All supporters of the Chord Progression Podcast, hit subscribe right down here if you're on YouTube, or hit follow on Spotify, Podcast, iHeartRadio, or Amazon. Please hit the like button as well because it helps push in the algorithm. Remember, new episodes with some of the best bands out there, some of the best upcoming bands for you to check out every single Tuesday and Thursday, and Friday reaction content on YouTube as well for fun. Oh yeah, so don't miss out on it. Thank you guys from Saint Sinner, Rory and Sam, and on that note, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes with Big, Healthy, and Hearty. See